So there's been a lot of speculation going around whether MetaZoo was the one that was dumping all those pallets of cases, and I just want to make a quick video showing you guys that it was indeed MetaZoo who were the ones that were doing it. Because if you look up the address for Golden Distribution on Google Maps at 3051 Corvin Drive, Santa Clara, California, and you click on the street view, you can actually compare the building with the building that's in the picture that Nick Strain posted in his video. The first thing you're going to notice is the Golden Distribution sign, and that just proves that we're in the right location. But the main thing I want you to focus on is the building itself, because you're going to notice that it's identical to the building that's in the picture that Nick Strain posted. You're going to notice the same exact design with these lines running along the wall, and then the lights, and then the garage doors. Especially if you focus on this one right here, this gap in between the two front garage doors, you can actually see that in Nick's picture, which we'll look at in a moment. But the other thing I want you to notice is 180 degrees across the street is a bunch of trees, which you can also see in Nick's picture. So I do believe that the dumpster or the trailer or whatever it was actually located right here in this parking lot, right alongside these garage doors. If you don't believe me, take a look at the picture itself. Because right here, you can actually see the same exact building with the garage doors, the stripes, and you have the lights right here, the trees across the street, and you can see that gap in between the two front garage doors. And the front garage happens to be open, just like it is in Google Maps, which is just kind of ironic. But that definitely proves that this was taken at Golden Distribution, which means Shaw was the one that was dumping these. It wasn't some investor that just didn't want them anymore because they were worthless. It was MetaZoo themselves, because maybe they have to do this because they're under bankruptcy or whatever, and they can't sell them legally, and they don't want to spend the time to give them away, and it's just taking up space, whatever the reasoning is. But it does prove that it was taken at Golden Distribution, and MetaZoo was the one that was dumping it. So speculation is over. It's now been confirmed. So what does that ultimately mean for MetaZoo? Not a damn thing. I mean, it doesn't change my opinion on the situation. I mean, look, if you honestly believe that those are the only pallets of MetaZoo that have been thrown away the last few months, then I have a nice plot of land to sell you in Alaska. Because I guarantee people have been throwing away product. Because it's just not worth anything anymore. It's just taking up space. Some people don't want to look at it anymore. They don't want to take the time to piece it out and try to sell it for pennies on the dollar. You know what I mean? So I'm sure a lot of product has been thrown away. Maybe not full-on pallets, but I'm sure a lot of product has been thrown away. But it's really not a surprise because they printed this shit to the ground. So if you're going to show me pictures of this stuff, it really doesn't scare me any. We already know that MetaZoo shut down. I mean, yes, there's a little bit inside me that hopes that it's going to come back and they're going to turn around and try to revive it, but I know that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So when I see this stuff, it doesn't really surprise me at the end of the day. You know what I mean? This is kind of what I would expect to see. Because not they're just going to fire sell it somewhere. They're probably just going to throw it away because it's just taking up space. They don't want anything to do with it anymore. So maybe that's the takeaway from this. The fact that they just don't care about it at all anymore. They're just going to throw it all away, cut their losses, and just move on with their life. I mean, yeah, that's kind of shitty, but that's basically the response we've gotten up until this point with all this silence. They obviously don't care. They've never really cared. That's the thing about MetaZoo. They've never really cared from the very beginning. They really didn't. I mean, they acted like they did. Certain things they did, but when it came to a lot of stuff, they didn't care. When push came to shove, they weren't there to really care about the fans or supporters. Everybody else, they just never cared about. So why would they care now? They're just going to toss it in the trash and move on with their life and pretend like it never even happened. So yeah, it is kind of concerning, but we've already seen this time and time again. So it's just more of the same for MetaZoo at this point in time. You know what I mean? It doesn't really change anything. So I don't know, guys, but again, it just proves that it wasn't some like investor or something like that, though. I know that's been going around. There's theories about that. You know what I mean? That somebody else is the one that was dumping it. MetaZoo wouldn't be the ones doing it. Well, it turns out it was MetaZoo that was doing it. And if you take away something from that I'm not taking away, well, you know, let me know in the comments because I love to know your opinion on it. But for me, I don't think it's really any different than what they've already been doing. So it doesn't really scare me anymore. You know what I mean? MetaZoo's dead. It's just beating a dead horse at this point in time, you know? And if it has any chance of coming back, it's somebody else coming in after the fact, after they file for bankruptcy and someone could pick it up then. It's the only chance I really give it at this point in time. So it doesn't really change the narrative. You know what I mean? It just proves what I already knew, that they overprinted this shit. Because look at how much of it they were still sitting on that they couldn't sell. That's not worth anything to them. You know, I mean, if I knew about it and I lived in California, hell yeah, I'd back up a truck and pick all that shit up.
and then probably have a crack fest and just crack it all open and whatever it ends up being, if it's wilderness or UFO or whatever it is, and just, hope for a secret rare or something. I mean, that's what I would do. That's all it's really worth at this point in time. You probably can't even really sell it. I mean, you can try to sell it, but prices are just going to continue to plummet, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to move all that. That's a lot of product to move. It's a lot of pallets of boxes right there, but I'm sure they got more. There's probably more of that. I thought that was all they had sitting in their warehouse. I mean, it's probably taking up a lot of valuable space, and they're just done with it. It's like, we're not just going to let this sit here for the next several months as we try to piece it out, even if they can legally sell it. Like, you know what I mean? Space is money in that situation. So just get rid of it. And that's what they did.